Yeah, I'll agree. I really appreciate the work folks have put forward to get us here to EarthX and be part of this community. It's been a good couple days for me, and happy to be here with everyone. So I'm just going to add a little bit of context to some of what Hans brought up and some of what John talked about. So again, my name is Zack Baize. I've been at NOAA for about 3 or 4 years and came from the Department of Energy, where I was doing a lot of similar work on innovation, technology around energy, the automotive industry, the built environment, and things like that. But so it's been really, really fascinating and interesting to sort of pivot into like the blue economy space. So I do think I have somewhat of like a nuanced perspective on like what Hans talked about, this idea of like sort of the sort of green economy and the blue economy and the sort of artificial bifurcation that sometimes we make there. And again, I think a big part of what we're trying to do at this point is to sort of break down that and sort of help folks to understand that those are some artificial distinctions. But yeah, when we talk about the ocean enterprise, really, as Hans said, we're really talking about government, industry, and academia stakeholders that all work together to develop either generate or use ocean data and information for some decision making. Some important things, and again, saying I've been at NOAA for about 3 or 4 years, I'm always learning about new ways in which ocean data and information really directly affect not just those of us at the coast, but everyone all the time. Just a couple examples I'll put out there. Over 80% of global trade travels by sea, right? And so obviously critically important, particularly in some areas that we're all familiar with right now, right? Like when maritime shipping gets disrupted, it makes real important and immediate impacts on our daily lives. Over 30% of global energy is generated at sea. That's whether it's oil and gas or renewables, wave, tidal, offshore wind. The potential to increase that to over 50%, right? So if you think about the potential future where over 50% of the world's energy is being generated at sea in some way. So understanding ocean variables and how that's affecting, again, our energy system is key. The seafood industry, 400 billion right now, looking to grow to be over 800 billion in the next 3 to 5 years. It's increasing rapidly. And that really doesn't even account for much of the sort of artisanal fishing and that many folks in the world rely on for daily sustenance. Over $1.2 trillion of real estate just in the United States is in high risk coastal areas, right, that clearly affected in a real material way by sea level rise and by other things like that. Undersea cables, 95% of the world's internet traffic is through undersea cables. So there's all these and these are all just kind of, and there's more, but I won't have time to go into all of them. But these are all just kind of some of those key ways that the ocean environment is directly related to just our daily lives in ways that we don't often kind of pay attention to. So there's quite a lot going out there. I think Hans mentioned deep sea minerals, which is a topic du jour that I spend quite a lot of time thinking about at the moment. The insurance industry obviously cares a lot about ocean material or ocean data. The national defense sector clearly focuses on ocean data and information. We work quite a lot with our partners at DoD, and there's many other ways. And that, again, that's before you even get into the ecosystem service aspect, which is something I'm personally interested in. My dissertation in graduate school was all about sort of, as an economist, I was very focused on how do you internalize externalities, right? And so the environmental services that the ocean and other natural systems provide is kind of key to that thinking as well. So this just just speaks to like the broad impact and the importance of the ocean and of understanding the ocean as it affects our daily life and affects the U.S. economy. I think it probably goes without saying the last 3 to 5 years have been a huge, rapid evolution in data, our ability to acquire it, but also to analyze and understand it with the advent of AI, which I'll probably try to say as few times as possible. But I mean, it's unavoidable. I mean, it's true. I mean, it's completely changing the way we do ocean observing. I mean, I've seen it just in my short time at NOAA. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago when I started to now, it's really been a rapid change. So yeah, as John was kind of mentioning, we're moving to an era of not of extraction, but of information. And so where data is actually a valuable export from the ocean. And so it's important to know about that. Our ability to sort of collect and analyze data is evolving. As I said, it used to be $50,000 a day plus to have, ship time, to go out and collect information and data. Now we have uncrewed systems that can go out and collect that data at a very small fraction of the price of ship time. And so we have this influx of just new data streams and the ability to collect that information, but we don't really have the full capacity to finance and to really fully deploy some of these new capabilities, which is one of the things that we're trying to get to now. And the importance of this information. As we understand more about the ocean, we see more use cases emerge, right? The more and more data and information you have, the more obvious it becomes that it's not just for the PhD scientist, the researcher. There's a lot of business case for understanding the ocean in a way that we haven't typically done in the past. So how do we move, from this era of just having the data to an area of being able to develop insights about the data? Like there's an interesting, something I was thinking about. I recall in undergraduate school, a cartography class I was taking in, there's a frame like there be dragons, right? Like if you're familiar with this, like in old ancient, not ancient, but older maps. They always drew dragons out in the ocean because it was this idea that this was this place that was outside, external. We don't understand. We don't know. Don't go there. It's dangerous. It's very opaque. And so our ability to sort of demystify the ocean and understand it better, how it both already impacts us, but how it has the potential to impact us more in the future. Again, these are all key critical areas where ocean data and ocean information play an important role. So just thinking about, some of the key things again here that I think ocean economy and ocean industries that have quite a lot to gain from improved ocean intelligence would certainly be the real estate, the coastal areas and information. Again, as I mentioned before, over $1 trillion of high value real estate is directly in line, directly in the line of fire of coastal hazards. And so understanding that's really, really critical, certainly for the insurance and reinsurance industries, which is a group of folks that we're really trying to engage with more as we can. It's been difficult, to be frank, and to get them to some of these discussions, but we're going to keep trying. But obviously the energy transition, as I mentioned, with the ability to sort of increasingly have the ocean be the vehicle for a lot of our energy generation, and then food security. I mean, it's a critical piece for us here in the U.S., but certainly around the world as well. And so again, at this point, we're sort of at a really interesting time where it's almost like a space race moment where we're starting to see the opportunities that we have available to us are just presenting themselves in a way in the last several years that they haven't in the past. And how do we take advantage of that? How do we sort of establish a leadership position in that, particularly in the United States, from my perspective at NOAA, but I think the U.S. economy in general, there's a lot happening very, very quickly, and I think we have the ability to position ourselves in a place of leadership here, and it's really, really critical, I think, that we get the right people involved, get the right partners in place, again, between the academic community, the industry and investment community, and the government community where I represent, to work together to sort of take advantage of these opportunities. Just a couple quick updates, to reinforce some of what John was talking about, job growth. So one of the things I do is manage the Ocean Enterprise Economic Study, which is getting ready to come out very soon. It's been delayed a couple of times, but as a preview of some of the stats that'll come out in that report, we've seen between 2021 and 2024, the U.S. marine economy has added over 500,000 jobs. You can see wages have grown by 32%, and I can tell you that both of those stats outpace the general U.S. economy. So you can see growth in those areas. The increasing, like I said, it's $5 trillion digital economy, and the critical reliance that they have on undersea cable and the digital economy, is very, very much reliant on undersea cable, data flow. And you can see the idea that the blue economy is growing writ large to be close to $4 trillion by 2033. That's the current pace that we're on. And the growth curve is actually steepening if you actually look at the pace and the growth. And so again, that goes back to reinforce this idea that we're kind of at a unique moment now. And appreciate the work that I do with MTS and Hans and his team to sort of help us sort of do the best we can to take advantage of that opportunity and put ourselves in a position of leadership. And that's what I'll say. Yeah.